Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared Kodamich, and today is time for September 2024 update already. Wow, the month flew by. August flew by, and the summer has been flying by, and the last couple weeks has been just really beautiful outside. We've had a pretty good summer as far as nice days goes. And so I've been doing a lot of reading out on my porch with my trusty companion, my dog Phoebe. And so I also, take a look at a lot of wildlife while I'm out there. And there's a lot of birds. We have a bird feeder, so they all come up, and we have all kinds of things like this. This is a dove, and we also get cardinals and finches and chickadees and blue jays and all kinds of birds. And we also get a friendly neighborhood visitor like this. Yeah, a nice little bear. So that was fun events while reading on the porch. All right. So what did I finish in August? I finished a few novels and some short stories, of course. So I finished this horrendous book here called 1984. It wasn't fun. What a masterpiece, though. What a masterpiece. Unbelievable book. Should be read by everybody. Should be mandatory reading, I think. It's just, well, I put a review up on it, so check that out, and you'll see how much I hate this book, but how much I respect it and how awesome it is. And so I finished 1984, and I also finished this book here, Red Shirts by John Scalzi. Um, it was okay. It was okay. It was fun. It was amusing. It's Red Shirts is a play upon the Star Trek motif of the red shirt. The person in the red shirt is usually the person who's not part of the regular cast on the show and goes down to a planet with the regular cast. And of course, he's the guy or the girl who something happens to and doesn't make it back, or just, something bad happens to. Um, and so it's been the butt of a joke for a long time. And John Scalzi did a fun job of putting that into paper and having the red shirts suddenly go, what's going on here? Why are all our people dying, or what have you? And so it was interesting. A lot of metafiction, um, especially towards the end where it gets like almost double metafiction. It's really, he really pours it on as far as that stuff goes. So it was okay. I had a good time with it. It was a nice in between read, so to speak. Um, something a little light, and so I finished that. I also finished Martian Time Slip by Philip K. Dick. That was very interesting. It's it was written in 1964, and it's a book that the author tries to use psychology, and he uses like social psychology um, and mental health psychology, and he does it in the 1964 way of doing things, and it may not sit well with some people. It didn't sit well at first with me when I first started reading the book. Fortunately, Philip Dick, he's a great storyteller, and so my accent came out. Teller. He's a storyteller. So the plot was great. The resolution was great. I thought it was a very well done story, and some of the ideas that he puts forth are antiquated, and so that's something that I had to come to grips with as I was starting out reading it, and took me a while to get into it because of those modern day biases that I have, that I had to deal with. And so once I was able to get by that, I found the story actually pretty good. Philip K. Dick, Martian Time Slip. He uses a similar structure in Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which he wrote after this. So you can tell where how his writing was developing to get to that point. And so uh, pretty good book, pretty good book overall. I also read. I also finished, and this is the big one. This is the doozy. My reread of The Crippled God. Yes, I am done. I am done all 1,200 pages of this monstrous, perfect finale to a series. What can I say about The Crippled God that hasn't been said already? Um, it is my favorite book ever. It is, my opinion, the best book ever written for my taste, for my flavoring. I love it that much, and I was so glad to read it again, and I got so much out of it on my reread. It's incredible how much you can get out of rereading this stuff, and my rereading journey is not over, as you'll see, but it is complete for the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. But I will be continuing rereads in the Malazan series. So, The Cripple God. Greatest thing ever. Greatest thing ever. Yes. All right. I also finished some short stories, of course, during the month of August. I read two short stories by Janie Wirtz for The Wars of Light and Shadow. They are called The Decoy and Reigns of Destiny. I read both of those. They're actually fairly, like, they're really short. They're quick, but they give you little insights into the world of Athera in the Wars of Light and Shadow, and so um, they're pretty cool. I really enjoyed them, and I think anybody could enjoy these as long as you've read at least the first book in the series, Curse of the Mistwraith. You will enjoy these two short stories by Janie Wirtz. So moving on, I also read a short story, of course, out of Tales Before Tolkien. And let's see, that story was actually quite a bit long. It was a 50-page short story, so closer to a novelette or a novella, whatever you want to call it. This short story was by H. Rider Haggard, and it is called Black Heart and White Heart, a Zulu Idol. And of course, being written back in, let's see, what was the year here? Yeah, being written back, published in 1896. In a title like that, Black Heart and White Heart, as Zulu Idol, however you say that, you would, of course, some little trigger warnings might go off and say, "Oh boy, a story written about race in Africa by a white guy. Um, there could be some problematic stuff in here, right?" Oddly enough, the writer seemed to have pretty good respect for the where he was in Zulu territory in Africa, or what he was writing about. You could tell that the writer was quite familiar with that region of the continent, and the main character, while he had his faults, um, most definitely, he also he was kind of playing both sides a lot during his time there, and there he was, and he gets his comeuppance at the end, and so the he pays for his viewpoints and stuff like that. He pays for his uses, and he pays for his betrayal of both the invading colonialist and the local tribes. and so it was actually quite interesting. It was a very it, I was worried. It was 50 pages long, and I was like, oh boy, when am I gonna it didn't seem like my kind of story, but actually the writing was really good by Haggard, and he really drew you in, and the story was very exciting. And he ended up, this a thief kind of guy. He's merchant thief type person. He was trying to broker deals and get the best out of everybody, and he ended up making a deal with a witch, and he actually ended up on the sour end of that deal through his own machinations and his own downfall. So it was pretty cool. It was a really good story. So another Tales Before Tolkien short story that inspired Tolkien. Tolkien actually was very vocal about how good a writer he thought Haggard was. So that's pretty interesting. I read another little folk tale from Chinese Myths and Folk Tales. This beautiful edition here. And I really didn't like the one I just read here yesterday. It was called The Marriage of the Fox's Daughter, and it was kind of a metaphor for two different houses. One was the house of the fox, and it, I don't know. It was kind of convoluted for such a short story, and there was I don't know, didn't seem nothing clicked with it with me. So that's going to happen when you have a book of 1,000 little folk tales, and you're going to get one that's kind of a dud. So that's okay. That's all right. I read a short story out of Swords and Dark Magic called "Dark Times at the Midnight Market" by Robert Silverberg, and this took place on Robert Silverberg's kind of sci fantasy world that he created. And he's written some um, novels about. It's called the Madripoor series, and this story takes place on that world and of Madripoor, and it was pretty cool. It was about this artisan who has to make an item, a potion actually, for a noble person, because the noble person kind of he kind of leans on him to make sure he gets it done, pays him a lot of money, and of course things don't go well from there. So it was a really cool story by Robert Silverberg. He's a classic science fiction and fantasy author, science fiction grandmaster, and Hugo and Nebula Award winning author. And I know he's going to be coming up in our sci-fi masterworks read along. So I was very happy to read the story. It's very, very well done out of Swords and Dark Magic. And so, what else have I read here? Any other short stories? I think I'm all caught up there. All right, that's everything I read. So what am I reading right now? What is active and on the docket? Of course, I am reading Trader's Knot. We're over halfway through this now, getting into the thick of it. So I'm on chapter 10, I think, right now, and we will continue our discussions every 2 weeks about Janie Wertz's seminal series, The Wars of Light and Shadow, Book 7, Trader's Knot. So I'm reading that right now. I am also reading Tagana by Guy Gabriel Kay. This is my first GGK book I've ever read. I recently had a discussion with Josh from Red Fairies Books on Song of Arbonne, where he easily convinced me to go ahead and check that out, and that's a no-brainer for me. I'm definitely gonna be checking out as many GGK books as I can. But so far, Tagana has been kind of right up my alley. It blends history and fantasy, and I enjoy his writing. It's very poetic, stylistic, um, and has a lot going for it. So Tigana by GGK. I'm enjoying that a lot. I am also reading Children of Memory. Wow, there's a lot of glare today. By Adrian Tchaikovsky. And I am enjoying this book. I am actually two, three-fourths of the way through as we continue to talk about this book on Speculative Speculations podcast every week. And so I have to say, I think I'm enjoying this one much better than the second one. And it's a good time. It's a good time. All right. So that's what I'm reading right now. What am I going to read? I've actually cheated and already read the first 10 pages of Nicola Griffith's Spear, which is a little alternate take on some Arthurian history. And I kind of like the first 10 pages and what I've read so far. So I'm going to be glad to continue on that. Spear is definitely on the docket. What's definitely on the docket as well is The Demolished Man by Alfred Becker. And this is a copy I picked up. Alfred Bester, not Becker, Bester. A copy I picked up at my library. It's actually a copy of the book from 1953. So that's pretty cool. And I'll be reading this as part of our Sci-Fi Masterwork read along monthly, and can't wait to get to that because I really did like the first novel we read by him. What the heck was it called? It was called "The Stars My Destination." Yes, so that was good. And to continue my Malazan read along, I will be hopping into Blood and Bone by Ian C. Esselmont, and this is the fifth book in the novels of the Malazan Empire. And so I remember the first time I read this, I enjoyed it immensely. The setting is incredible in this book, if for those of you who don't know. And that's what I remember from it, and I can't wait to get back to it. So that's going to be good. All right. And that's what I got coming up. I'm also going to continue my my delve into the Saga of the Swamp Thing. We'll be continuing to talk about that on page chewing as well. We're going to be doing volume 3 next. I think I'm going to be reading that this week, so that's going to be good. All right, anything else? I think that covers everything. What do you think? That's enough, right? All right, so that's my September update. Please let me know what you're doing too. What did you read last month? What do you got coming up? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. And as always, be good to each other. Thank you.